All right. So welcome back to another Lock It In. This is our little YouTube special where we're going to be predicting or previewing each NBA playoff series in round one. So I've got Uncle Tav on the mic with me, and we're gonna go ahead and preview the series between the Orlando Magic and the Toronto Raptors. We're going to go ahead and give you a key, an X factor, and an MVP for each team. But first, introductions. Welcome back to the Toronto Raptors and their anxiety-wrought fan base. And this isn't just for the Raptors. This is also how they act for the Leafs. Thankfully for them, LeBron is not in the playoffs to bully you guys around. Welcome back to Orlando. Franchise mired in losing season after losing season since they traded Dwight Howard. This is my certified happy to be here team.
I agree. I don't think there's anybody who's happier to be in the playoffs than the Orlando Magic. I don't think anybody even thought about the playing in the playoffs until like a week ago.
That was actually the first time I thought about the Magic in a really long time.
Absolutely. But Disney World, dude.
Yeah, welcome.
Near them.
Welcome back to relevance.
Right. Although I don't know if there's a more relevant sports town there.
I don't think there is one. But for me,
despite having a few major stars,
for me, their finals is going to be winning a game. They could win one of their home games. That's going to be a huge success for me. I'm going to consider that everybody on that team gets one finals trophy if they win one home game against the Raptors in the series.
And how about let's give credit to Steve Clifford.
Hell of a job. This team, so actually that's a great place to jump off. Let's jump right into the Magic. For me, this is a team that their biggest strength is, we were just talking about it, Steve Clifford this is a well-coached team. The half court, this team defense. And another sign of a great coach team is that they're top 5 in assist to turnover ratio in the league. They play really good, solid, fundamental basketball. And so if they can keep their half court defense playing really well, and they could keep their assist to turnover ratio as high as possible, they could maybe win a game or two against Toronto. So for me, that's going to be a big key for them.
Yeah, for the key, I think it's got to be Vucevic. He's got to be the focal point of the offense. I think, like touched on, they've really got to control pace against Toronto. I think they need to slow it down, not get into a running match with a team that's, quite frankly, just more talented than them. They're a good defensive team, like you said. I think that's the key. Is they've really got to control the paces because Toronto wants to run. They're putting up a $114 a game. Orlando can't score.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. You got to limit Toronto's opportunities in transition, and Toronto's defense itself can be very disruptive, especially with Kawhi out there. Moving on to the Magic's X factor, for me, it's going to be Jonathan Isaac. You know how big a fan I've been of Spicy P, Pascal Siakam. I've been a big fan, but if the Magic want to win a game or two, or make this a competitive series, it's going to need to be because the young boy Isaac outplayed Spicy P. So I think that's going to be a big X factor for me, that matchup. I want to see Isaac make a little bit of a progression. Really liked him at Florida State. Really liked him in the draft. I think he's got very high potential, but I think it's time for him to show it this series.
My big X factor is actually Terrence Ross. This season on an absolute tear.
He's played great this season.
Last 4 games, 23, 25, 26, 35 to close out the year, and 4 victories for the Magic. He's actually quietly had a very great season for them. Salvaged Ibaka trade a little bit. I think if he a huge game off the bench and negate what we know is inevitable coming off that coming off that Toronto bench. That's the only way I can really see Orlando, maybe competing for a game in this series.
Right, like a game or two. I agree with you. That's their finals. They win a game or two at home, and I'm going to be very impressed with this team. And that really goes to Vucevic, who I think is my MVP. And for this team, I think he's, put together quite a hell of a season for this squad. And he's going to need to tear it up inside in one game. He's going to need to have, a 30-15 game or a 25 and 15 game, something big like that for this team to win one. And so I think that, he's got the potential to outplay both Gasol and Ibaka inside. And they're going to win one of these games. It's going to be because he did do that.
Yeah, I think, a lot of casual fans out there probably don't realize that Vucevic, quite frankly, is probably the best big guy in this series.
If you haven't watched Orlando this year.
But, even with him in there, Vucevic is a really, really good player.
If you haven't seen Vucevic play this year, then you don't know how good he is because he's never been this good. He's another D'Angelo Russell type where, he's had a really, really big year when he hasn't done that in the past. And so if you haven't watched him this year, you might not realize that he really is the best big guy in the series.
Oh, totally. And this guy's just a 2010 machine.
2010 machine.
He punches in, 2010, punches out.
Right. And so he'll get 20 and 10, but if he can go off for 30 and 15 in one game, just one game, if he could do that, I think they could win. They could win.
I agree.
Let's move on to, do you have an MVP? Or is it Vucevic as well?
I agree on Vucevic.
All right. So for the Raptors then, let's move to their key. Unlock it in. We like to keep things simple. Don't overthink it. I once got great advice. Keep it simple, stupid. So we're not going to overthink these things. This is a huge mismatch. The Raptors' key is going to be make some shots. Make your open shots. That's it. It's simple. The Raptors play their game. They're going to win pretty easily. 4-0, 4-1, something like that. So just make your shots.
Yeah, for me, it's honestly getting through this healthy. Don't get any injuries in this series. Get through this health to the next round. Because this should be, quite honestly, a pretty easy series for them.
But just because it's going to be an easy series doesn't mean there aren't going to be things I'm looking for. So that's kind of where I focus my X factor and key and MVP in this series is for not necessarily just this series, but for down the road. What do we need to see for this team to, be successful in their ultimate goal, which is, getting at least to the finals. And for me, my X factor is going to be Danny Green. For a team full of guys who have been thought of as chokers, I think they're going to need to look to Green to set an example early in the playoffs of what poise is like. We've seen what he does with San Antonio. Not the best player, but he shows up every game. He's consistent. He plays good defense. He makes his open shots. He'll be there when you need him to be there. And I think in tough moments in this playoffs, they're going to be looking for Danny Green, and they're going to need to turn to him. And we're going to have to hope, if for the Raptors' sake, that he hasn't lost too much of his prime.
The X factor for Toronto, I really want to see what Marc Gasol does for them. I think this is going to be an interesting series to see how well kind of those numbers, the metric numbers, translate to the playoffs. See if they're going to be able to small. I'm sure Orlando's going to trot out a small lineup at some point against them, with Isaac probably playing the 5. But I want to see Gasol play with this team in the playoffs. I think he adds a nice dimension for them. Gives them just another guy to run offense through late in the game. I'm excited to kind of see him play in crunch time again. When the last few years he's kind of been, irrelevant. And I think a lot of us miss watching him in the playoff.
I totally agree with that, and that's another guy I definitely thought about putting up here, because he's a guy who's going to need to make a difference for them at some point in this playoffs if they're going to want to go through. He's definitely a guy I'll be looking for later in the playoffs as an X factor, especially when they go up against, a team with a guy like Joel Embiid. So for the MVP, I think we're probably both going to be on the same guy here, Kawhi. And my prediction for this playoffs is this is going to be a legacy-defining playoffs for Giannis and Kawhi. For both of them, this is a legacy-defining playoffs for these two. And I'm more interested in that storyline and comparing how dominant they each are in round one. Every single game matters in this battle of the legacies. So both of these guys, I'm going to say the same thing for both these guys, go out and dominate your series. Don't just win, dominate. I want to see Kawhi come out, win in 4 games, put up 28, 8, and 8, just be a monster all over the floor. He sat a lot of games this year. He should be healthy and ready to go. So I'm really interested.
Yeah.
I think we both said this early in the year and have continued to say it late in the year. I'm really interested in seeing this matchup between Giannis and Kawhi. I've been waiting for it all year. And so I'm going to be comparing them all postseason.
I'm with you on Kawhi. I think he's the clear-cut MVP for them. Just something else to throw out there. Be nice to see Kyle Lowry have a good series in this. He should dominate this point guard matchup against DJ Augustine. He's going to need some point for them to win this series. Probably not, but he will. He will need to play well.
Maybe as early as the second round.
I think it'll be.
Maybe as early as the second round, they're going to need him to play better.
Yeah.
I agree. But this series, it won't really matter for him. But it would be encouraging, definitely, to see him go out and play a little bit better. All right. I think that goes ahead and concludes this. I think this is going to be pretty easy. I want to see this be 4-0 for the Raptors, and I want to see Kawhi absolutely dominate. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I'd just really like to see Toronto just hurry up and get to the next round in this.
Yeah, for once in the playoffs, just make it clean, make it clean, make it crisp,
right.
No worries.
For sure. It's kind of a shame because a lot of these first-round matchups didn't end up shaking out the best way, and I think this is... Honestly,
I really think that if we could have flipped around these matchups a little bit in the East, there could have been more dangerous upsets. But I actually think all of the lower seeds ended up playing the team that fits them worse.
Right, exactly.
So I think the Magic, their worst matchup was against the Raptors. I actually would have liked them a little bit more against Milwaukee. I think that would have been an interesting matchup for them, even though they still would have probably lost. I think they would have had an easier time taking a game off a team that was built like Milwaukee, where, they could really make it a battle of Brooks Lopez versus Vucevic. And I also, for that matter of fact, think the Nets would have been a really good matchup for the Raptors. I think the Nets might have been able to pull a game or two off the Raptors. So I think the Raptors avoided a harder matchup, and the Magic ended up in a matchup that they probably don't like as much.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just think this is just a tough matchup for Orlando. They don't have the firepower to really compete with Toronto.